Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Toad64, and today I wanted to do my impressions, my first thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which just came out a couple days ago, and I have been loving it. Well, there you go. There's my initial impressions. I'm loving it, but I wanted to go into more detail. But I just want to kind of break down what is so great about it. Where to even start here? First, let's talk about references to the cartoon. There's so many small details hidden around that if you've liked the 80s cartoon and watched it, there's so many things to enjoy, like the characters you have to find and the things you can find for them. Like, you find Irma pretty early on in the game, one of the people that work with April at Channel 6, and she wants you to find her diaries for her. It's one of the collectibles you can find. And one of the great things about it is every time you find a diary, she says something that's kind of related to an episode. So I found one and she was like, "Remember when I turned into a giant?" And I started remembering, like, yeah, I remember she was like, kind of like an Attack of the 50-Foot Woman episode. I think also, was she a cat girl or was April a cat girl in one episode? There was totally a cat girl episode. I forget who turned. Maybe it was April, actually. But little touches like that really kind of dig into the backstory and the history of the Turtles, I really enjoy. Also, I was really surprised to see that it seems to be, you could almost say, canon to the 80s series. Like after the 10th season, or I think it happened in the 8th season. So eventually Shredder and Krang were defeated. They got rid of the Technodrome, they destroyed it, and they left it on, I forget if it was in Dimension X or it was some other planet. So when you find the Technodrome in this game, you go to Dimension X and you see the Technodrome has been totaled. And so I realized that's why they're trying to find all the pieces of Krang's body, because he lost his body. Did he lose his body? Man, it's been a long time since I've watched those. I think the last episode of the series, they go to Dimension X and they need something in the Technodrome and they find like his body, but it's like Krang isn't in it anymore, and it's maybe, but Krang didn't have his body at the end, so that's why I think like they're getting all the pieces of Krang's body throughout the game, because they're kind of tying it into the fact that he didn't have it at the end of that, which is something really surprising. I didn't think that, like, there was a little bit of continuity in those episodes, and they decided to tie it into that, which I thought was great. Another thing, I mean, it's been talked about to death since the trailer first dropped, but the look of the game. The look of the game is amazing. Obviously, they went with the 80s Turtles because it's the one that most people know, and especially, like, younger kids know it because they keep on kind of making merchandise with the 80s Turtles. Oh, the older audience is going to know it because they're nostalgic for when they were kids and watching the 80s Turtles. So I feel like that is the Turtles that, like, they wanted to do because everyone knows that version. But they did a great job with making it look like classic Turtles, but it also has, like, its own style. There's these... The sprite work is really kind of chunky looking and doesn't look exactly like the cartoon, but in a good way. It's its own style. I know Paul Robertson, I think is his name, did the sprite work for the game, and he did the sprites for the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game as well, which, I mean, that has amazing animation, amazing sprite work as well. And you can definitely see the similarities there. Also, the sound in this game, obviously the music tracks are wonderful. There's been a lot of people that have tried to emulate the old Ninja Turtles arcade games kind of sound. This one nails it. They did an amazing job with it. T. Lopez, I think is his name, did the soundtrack, and they actually have a behind-the-scenes video of him doing it, and he really put a lot of care into how this game sounds and how it tries to sound like the 80s cartoon, but also sound like the first two arcade games, but also try to sound modern and his own kind of touch, and I think he did a great job. The first stage on this soundtrack is still going through my head days later, and even I think it was in the first trailer they showed that they did that song, and it is so good. It's really catchy. I think T. Lopez also did the music in Sonic Mania, and if you played Sonic Mania, you know that like the soundtrack in that is amazing as well, and he does the same thing where you've got these modern kind of soundtracks that have their own modern sensibility, but they also adhere really closely to the source material they're trying to emulate. This is a soundtrack that is definitely going to be going on my phone's playlist. I can see myself listening to this all the time. I have a Ninja Turtles playlist on my phone that is full of old Ninja Turtles games, soundtracks, so this will definitely be working its way in there. Absolutely, probably every track on there. Obviously, the voice work is great. We've had a lot of Ninja Turtles games in the past, and usually, especially like with the You know, the Turtles arcade games, they got someone in the studio, you know, someone at Konami was just like, oh, say this sound. And they're like, oh, shell-shocked. And, you know, we were just surprised the game was speaking. We weren't expecting the character voices back then. Just the fact that it was speaking out loud and you could hear it across a crowded, you know, bowling alley or arcade, like, really made it stand out. But the fact that they got the original 80s voice actors to come back for this. You know, Barry Gordon comes back for Donatello. He sounds great. Rob Paulson plays Raphael Cam Clark as Leonardo, and Townsend Coleman as Michelangelo. Fantastic, and it really helps feel like you're playing an episode of the 80s cartoon. So I started with Donatello. I'm definitely going to play through as April O'Neil next. I unlocked Casey Jones when I beat the game, but I'll definitely be playing through as other characters. So final thoughts, this is the best TMNT game we had in a long time, hands down. There's been a lot of TMNT games over the years, and this one does really stand out. It's fast-paced, it's fun, it's frantic. It really kind of has that arcade feel where it's just going to give you action nonstop, and it's not going to let up. And there's so much going on the screen. There's so much music. There's so much voice work. There's so much action that it's just constantly, in the best way, just a barrage of kind of video game goodness. Then that's, I think, what it makes it feel like an arcade, because the arcade was loud, it was busy, there's loud music, there's loud sound effects, there's loud background ambient noise because you're in an arcade or a bowling alley or something like that. And I feel like that the constant kind of action kind of feels very much like that arcade experience. But this is the real deal, and if they make another one, I can't wait to play it. But I feel like this is something that's probably so unique we don't get a game like this a lot. I mean, there's a lot of games that try to give you that nostalgic fix, but I think very few of them actually like nail it, and this one does in every sense of the word. It gets everything right. This is just, it's a must play. So that's my rambling thoughts for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. I can't wait to get back to it, but I just had to share it with you guys because it is so fun, it is so amazing, and I hope you guys are all out there enjoying it. And let me know in the comments what you think of the game. You know, who did you play through the first time? Like the video, subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate you watching it, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!